So on Memorial Day, President Trump is celebrating our fallen heroes. Democrats are making a massive mistake, and a Democrat official is under investigation for helping illegal aliens evade ICE arrest.
With the midterms fast approaching and a full 6 months after November's electoral drubbing, the Democratic Party appears to still be in fact-finding mode. The New York Times reports that party donors and strategists have been gathering at luxury hotels to discuss how to win back working-class voters. And they're spending $20 million on an effort to try to figure out how to speak to young men. Quote, "It is codenamed SAM, short for Speaking with American Men, a strategic plan, and promises investment to study the syntax, language, and content that gains attention and virality in these spaces."
Okay, well, this first story is a complete joke. If you're going to spend $20 million to figure out how to speak to men, you're telling me already that you don't understand men. And secondly, this isn't really about understanding men. This is about getting their vote. And this is a classical move by Democrats because this is the same crap that they do with black people every 4 years.
Donors and strategists, Megan, have been gathering at luxury hotels to discuss how to win back working class voters. The Times says these new projects can read like anthropological studies of people from faraway places. What do you see in here?
Well, it's great that we're being a little bit more introspective. That's always helpful. But I think that the Democrats have forgot that maybe we should just talk to people like people. We don't need to do studies on it. We don't need to meet at hotels. How about we just go to community meetings and meet people where they are on social media and their different forms and platforms that they are. But I think that the Democrats have forgot how to talk to normal people about things that are really important to them, like the economy. So it's I think, a really good lesson to learn, but I also think we just need to get back to basics.
Yeah, see, what's interesting is these people are too smart that they're dumb. Anybody that has a brain when it comes to getting results in business understands step number one is get attention. And step number two is understanding how to relate to the person you're trying to sell, right? Understanding their problem. And the fact of the matter is it takes a special individual who can pull that off, meaning you can have the right script. You can come up with the right message. You can have the perfect commercial. But if you don't have the right person to sell it, no one's going to buy it. Okay? That's just the bottom line. And every entrepreneur knows you can spend all night long creating the best product or service. But if nobody knows you exist and you're not the right person to sell it, it's not going to work. And that's the biggest lesson that Democrats have yet to learn, including this other lesson, which is called authenticity. Take a listen.
You also saw the now famous proposal that the Trump team did with going on Joe Rogan, Theo Vaughn, not traditional Republicans, but they went in there because they saw that audience they had tremendous opportunity with. But the difference is, to your point, a syntax study isn't going to do it. Authenticity is. And that's what's missing from the Democrat Party today. Doing a TikTok dance or inserting some four-letter words into your tweets, not going to get you there if people aren't buying your message and buying your messengers.
Okay, so here's what you need to know in the end. The left has been on the leading edge of destroying masculinity in our society. And now they're going to have to deal with the consequences, which may take decades to fix. And so they can spend all the money they like, but I don't think it's going to get them the results they truly want. And I have some examples to show you of just how out of touch they truly are and continue to be. So in this first clip, you're going to see people kneeling for George Floyd. This is them celebrating the 5-year anniversary. Take a look. All right, so listen, it doesn't even matter what your opinion is in regards to George Floyd. I just don't understand. Why aren't you guys not having a moment of silence for the veterans who lost their lives and gave us the freedom we have today? Where's that? It's so interesting how Democrats behave. They always end up kneeling and protesting on behalf of people who are criminals, and they never protest or defend our actual heroes, people who paid the ultimate sacrifice, which is what today is all about, Memorial Day. Where's the moment of silence for today? Okay, let's go to our next clip that just shows you how stupid they are. Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson is not wishing you a happy Memorial Day. He's wishing you a happy Africa Day. Take a listen.
Hello, I am Mayor Brandon Johnson, and I am proud to join you in recognizing and celebrating Africa Day. The continent of Africa is made up of 1.2 billion people with diverse countries full of rich traditions, cultures, and heritage. The African diaspora can be found in cities and countries around the globe. And right here in Chicago, our proud African communities have made indelible contributions to the growth and fabric of our amazing city. So this Africa Day, let us take a moment to celebrate the achievements of the people of Africa, the progress made by African nations, and the traditions and culture they have shared with us. And let us also show them that we will embrace and support them as they continue to overcome and face their challenges head on. Thank you, and happy Africa Day, everyone.
Now, if we check out his social media account, he has photos of Memorial Day, which is great, but no video. See, he wanted to create a video about Africa Day, but no video for our veterans. I'm just curious, what's going on there? You see, I'm telling you, Democrats, their priorities are always misplaced. Now, on the other side of things, I believe what President Trump did today was not misplaced. He delivered an address at the Arlington National Cemetery, which was great. I'll show you a couple clips from that. And he also came for his haters and critics on Truth Social this morning. Let me read that to you. When I read this, I was just laughing, okay? Because I just think he's hilarious when he writes this way. Let me just read it to you. Happy Memorial Day to all, including the scum that spent the last 4 years trying to destroy our country through warped radical left minds who allowed 21 million people to illegally enter our country, many of them being criminals and the mentally insane, through an open border that only an incompetent president would approve, and through judges who are on a mission to keep murderers, drug dealers, rapists, gang members, and release prisoners from all over the world in our country so they can do what? Rob, murder, and rape again. So he's just going off, right? And of course, this is all being protected by these USA hating judges who suffer from an ideology that is sick and very dangerous for our country. Hopefully, the United States Supreme Court and other good and compassionate judges throughout the land will save us from the decisions of these monsters who want our country to go to hell. But fear not, we have made great progress over the last 4 months, and America will soon be safe and great again. Again, happy Memorial Day, and God bless America. Now, here is a clip of President Trump honoring the service members who paid the ultimate sacrifice. Take a listen.
They plunged into the crucible of battle, stormed into the fires of hell, charged into the valley of death, and rose into the arms of angels. The sacrifice that they made was not merely for a single battle, a long ago victory, or a fleeting triumph, decades or centuries past. Their sacrifice was for today, tomorrow, and every morning thereafter. Every child that lives in peace, every home that is filled with joy and love, every day the Republic stands is only possible because of those who did what had to be done when duty called. Each of the service members who have made the supreme sacrifice for our nation has also left an unfillable void and an unbreakable silence in the lives of all who love them. For the families of the fallen, you feel the absence of your heroes every day in the family. These are great families. These are wonderful families. We lift you up and we hold you high. Thank you, thank you, thank you for giving America the brightest light in your lives. It's what you've done. We will never, ever forget our fallen heroes, and we will never forget our debt to you.
So if we look at everything here, you have a president focusing on the issue that matters, which is remembering the fallen, the service members who paid the ultimate sacrifice to give us the ability to complain about everything politically today, right? Because that's what's happening in today's world. Instead of, I guess, what Democrats are doing, which is kneeling for George Floyd and celebrating Africa Day. And let me show you another great example of what they should be doing. Here is Doug Collins on Fox News. He's the VA secretary saying this.
When you think about those who gave that ultimate sacrifice, when you think about the families who are home, I remember being when I was in Iraq and I was having to work and we would lose folks in the hospital and sending them home. What I was thinking about was the families who were now without. So today on this Memorial Day, not only do we remember those who gave that last full measure of devotion, but remember today as you go about your life that there are some who are still looking at an empty chair. They're looking at a visit or someone that they would pick up the phone and talk to that they no longer can. It's about those who gave that sacrifice that we remember today, because our country is built on the shoulders of those who gave for us.
All right, now let's go to our next story. So it's no secret that Ukraine and Russia and that stupid endless war continues to drag on, and the president has had enough. And now he's considering placing sanctions on Russia as a result. Take a listen.
Breaking tonight on this solemn Memorial Day, honoring America's war dead, President Trump's efforts to end a war halfway around the world have hit a familiar stumbling block: Vladimir Putin. The president says Russia's president has gone, in his words, absolutely crazy after unleashing the largest drone and missile attack against Ukraine since his invasion. President Trump is threatening new sanctions on Moscow. Lucas Tomlinson starts us off tonight from the White House. Good evening, Lucas.
Good evening, Rich. After Russia launched its largest drone attack on Ukraine since the start of the war, President Trump says he's now considering adding additional sanctions on Russian President Vladimir Putin.
Well, I don't know what's wrong with him. What the hell happened to him, right? He's killing a lot of people. I'm not happy about that.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is calling for more sanctions after Russia launched more than 900 drones and missiles, killing 12 civilians, including 3 children. The Economist reports Russia, with help from China and Iran, is ramping up the production of drones to 500 a day. It used to take Russia a month to make 300.
Well, I suppose the most important question at this point, is it possible that President Trump is going to be able to get Putin to the table and start a serious negotiation? Now, I'm of the opinion that President Trump has the ability to get this done. I'm also of the opinion that he's running short on patience, right? Because again, I think the way he went about this is the same way I would have went about it. Just do the opposite of what my predecessor did. Instead of antagonizing Putin, let's try to build some rapport and get him to the table. Well, I think his patience is running thin, if you know what I mean. Now, again, getting back to the most important question, is it even possible at this point?
Do you think that it's possible that Putin will actually ever come to the table in search of peace?
I think it's possible that the president bring him to the table because of the situation that he continues to put him in, with sanctions on Russia, with secondary sanctions on those that will purchase anything from Russia, with crippling their economy, with just skyrocketing inflation. And ultimately, it has to be bringing an end to the capabilities that Russia can bring to the battlefield, which hasn't taken place yet. And a lot of the reason that hasn't taken place is because Russia still continues to have that cash cow of oil and gas funneling money into their economy that allows them to go out there and fuel probably greater than 10% of their economy into military operations.
So the brutal truth here, ladies and gentlemen, is that Russia has the leverage. They have the funding. They have the alliance with China. Why should they end this war right now? There's no reason to. They can continue to kick this can down the road. And that is a huge problem for President Trump, because he can continue to go on Truth Social and even publicly condemn this war. And Americans are definitely fed up with even some idea of funding this war through Ukraine. So it's almost a conundrum in some way, shape, or form. And even CNN is acknowledging this. Take a listen.
But that's the thing, right? Putin really has no incentive to cut a deal here because he sees U.S. support waning.
Absolutely. And I was just sitting here thinking there's absolutely no way Congress would ever give them more money. The Ukraine war, right or wrong, you guys know I'm a my old boss said he would see Putin's soul when he looked into his eyes.
George W. Bush.
Yeah, George W. Bush. So, listen, this war is so unpopular with the American people, right or wrong, especially people that don't live in the, East and West coasts, that they don't want more money spent. So I think what I am watching, and I think with Congress being out this coming week, is Lindsey Graham can't put his package forward, which are just the additional sanctions. But that's going to be a big just message that obviously Trump let that happen.
Yeah, and there are 80 co-sponsors on that bill.
And that will pass.
And speaking of Lindsey Graham, here's what he had to say. This latest outrage by Russia will not go unaddressed. Without China's support, Putin's war machine comes to a halt. So sanctions are definitely ramping up. Congress seems, based on what we're hearing, might actually do their job. And will that have an impact? That remains to be seen, because everything that we have done on both sides, if we're talking Democrats, Republicans, Congress, and at this point, even both presidents, it has not brought this war to an end. So it remains to be seen if this works. Okay, and now another story on this Memorial Day that just makes you shake your head because Democrats can't help themselves. The mayor of Nashville is now under federal investigation for helping illegal aliens evade ICE arrests. I guess no shocker, because this is continuing to be a reoccurring theme. Now, the individual who confirmed this story is Representative Andy Ogles. Here's his announcement. Take a listen.
Well, you've heard it. The individuals that the mayor is standing with are murderers, rapists, drug traffickers, sexual predators, child traffickers. The list goes on. Which is why I will always stand on the rule of law and with ICE. And I don't just stand with ICE, I'll stand in front of ICE. Because we, the people, have had enough. I choose my community, my state, and my family over this type of nonsense. Which is why, due to the remarks of Freddie O'Connell and the potential for aiding and abetting illegal immigration, the Homeland Security and the Judiciary Committees will be conducting an investigation into the mayor of Nashville, his conduct, and whether or not federal dollars have been used in criminal enterprise. I will not back down. I will not relent, and I will always stand with law enforcement. I want my community and I want my country back. This is Andy Ogles. Thank you for being here.
All right. Well, that's a great announcement there. We have not heard from the Department of Homeland Security. I'm sure we will this week. And you already know what Democrats and mainstream media will claim. This is once again a weaponized justice system targeting Democrats. But listen, why are federal officials, especially mayors, helping illegal aliens evade ICE arrest? Now, the reason why they do it is because they don't believe they're criminals. They don't believe they've committed a crime. And that is just sad. All right, so now it's a good time to get your guys' reaction in the comment section below to a couple of these stories on this Memorial Day. Number one, why are Democrats spending $20 million to try to understand how to speak to American men? Doesn't that signal that they just don't understand? Also, thinking about what people don't understand, why are people kneeling for George Floyd? It's been 5 years. And why is the mayor of Chicago celebrating Africa Day when he's an American citizen? I'm not understanding that either. Just let me know what your guys' reaction is to all of these stories in the comment section below. Now, in our next video, President Trump provided a major update in regards to Russia and Ukraine that you're going to want to check out. And Speaker Johnson gave an update on the big, beautiful bill and whether or not he believes it's going to pass in the Senate. If you want to check out that video, more stories from yesterday, all you have to do is click on it because it's coming up right now.